They were born to rule the oceans, monstrous steel titans built to dominate the waves with unmatched firepower. But even the most impressive World War II battleships, some of the largest ever constructed, met a grim fate. After facing relentless bombardment, many of these floating fortresses ended up resting quietly on the ocean floor, covered in barnacles, ghostly reminders of a time when war ruled the seas. Today, we're taking you deep beneath the surface to explore these legendary warships, their brutal battles, and the moments that sealed their doom. But before we dive in, big thanks to Alan for his awesome comment on our most insane main battle tanks video. Yes, the French Leclerc was a beast, and we missed it. Want to be featured next? Drop the name of the warship you think we forgot in the comments. Your shoutout could be in the next video. Number 10. The Dunkirk-class. It was built to challenge Nazi Germany's growing naval strength, yet it never fired a single shot against the fleet it was meant to face. The Dunkirk-class was France's ambitious answer to protect its vast coastlines, fast, modern, and armed to the teeth. With 4 steam gear turbines pushing it to 33 miles an hour, 29.5 knots, and a deadly arsenal that included 8 13-inch guns and multiple 130mm turrets. This 500-ton vessel was a compact powerhouse. In 1940, it was even fitted with a massive 46-meter rangefinder proof that France was upgrading for a serious naval clash. But after the fall of France, what followed was one of the most tragic and controversial moments in naval history. Fearing that these ships could fall into German hands, British forces launched a surprise attack on their former allies at Mers el-Kebir, Algeria. The result? The French fleet was devastated. The Dunkirk was hit. And in a single day, 1,297 French sailors were killed, while the British walked away with just 2 casualties. A warship built for battle, ended by those it once called friends. Number 9. The Congo-class. The Congo was Japan's high-speed answer to modern naval warfare, fast, fierce, and heavily armed. Originally launched in the World War I era, it got a major upgrade in 1935, boosting its power and speed while sacrificing armor. Displacing 36,000 tons, it packed 4 twin 14-inch turrets, 16 50-caliber guns, and 8 torpedo tubes, a true floating arsenal. But speed couldn't save it forever. In 1944, just 63 miles off Taiwan's coast, the USS Sea Lion struck it with 6 torpedoes. The Congo went down a powerful ship lost to the depths. Number 8. The South Dakota-class. They were built under strict limits, but that didn't stop them from becoming legends. The South Dakota-class battleships were America's answer to post-World War I naval treaties, restricted to just 35,000 tons of displacement. Yet despite these limits, they packed a serious punch. 9 16-inch main guns and 16 5-inch 38-caliber Mark 12s. Only 4 ships were ever built: the South Dakota, Massachusetts, Indiana, and Alabama. But each one carried the firepower and speed to dominate any battle. Not every nation played fair, though. When Japan violated the treaty, the US and UK later agreed to increase the limit to 45,000 tons, and that's where some truly massive ships came in. We'll get to those. But back to the South Dakota-class, one ship in particular stands out: the USS Alabama. Today, it rests peacefully in Mobile, Alabama, where you can walk its decks. But during WWII, it was a beast, downing dozens of Japanese aircraft without taking a single hit in return. A battleship that followed the rules and still came out on top. Number 7. The North Carolina-class. The North Carolina-class quietly shattered treaty limits, going over 45,000 tons at full load and arming itself with massive 16-inch guns, despite rules capping both. Some even argue the US, not Japan, broke the treaty first. But on the battlefield, none of that mattered. These ships could fire 2,700-pound shells over 22 miles at 2,300 feet per second. Only 2 were built: the USS North Carolina, now a museum, and the USS Washington, later scrapped. In battles like the Marianas Turkey Shoot, they proved one thing: treaties might be written on paper, but victory is written in firepower. Number 6. HM's Hood. The HMS Hood wasn't just a warship, it was a symbol of British naval pride. Launched in 1916, it was the last true battlecruiser of the Royal Navy and, for years, the largest and most powerful ship afloat. At 896 feet long and capable of speeds up to 35 miles an hour, 30 knots, it relied on speed rather than heavy armor, a design choice that would later prove fatal. Despite its cruiser classification, the Hood was heavily armed with 15-inch Mark I guns, capable of launching 1,920-pound shells over 17 miles, and backed by 12.50 caliber machine guns. It spent much of its career patrolling the Atlantic, cutting through the icy waters near Iceland and the Norwegian Sea, disrupting enemy supply lines. The Hood also played a pivotal role in the attack at Mers el-Kabir, where it helped destroy parts of the French fleet to keep them out of Axis hands. But its legacy took a tragic turn in 1941 during the Battle of the Denmark Strait. In a shocking moment of devastation, the HMS Hood was struck and sunk within minutes, a thunderous end for one of the most iconic ships in Royal Navy history. Number 5. King George V Class. Just before WWIE, Britain launched the King George V Class 5 powerful battleships, including the King George V, Prince of Wales, Duke of York, Anson, and Howe. Armed with 10 14-inch guns and 16 5.2 5-inch dual-purpose guns, they were built for serious combat. Two ships helped hunt down the Bismarck, which had sunk the HMS Hood. The Prince of Wales survived that battle but was later sunk by Japanese aircraft in the South China Sea. These ships also played key roles in the Far East, escorting convoys and bombarding enemy targets. Fast, fearsome, and always on the front line. Number 4. Littorio-class. Fast, modern, and menacing, the Littorio-class was Italy's most advanced line of battleships during World War II. With 3 ships in the class: Littorio, Vittorio Veneto, and Roma, these giants were the pride of the Italian Navy, dominating the Mediterranean with their presence. Each vessel stretched 780 feet in length, displaced over 41,000 tons, and could slice through the sea at 30 knots. Armed with 9 15-inch guns, 12 6-inch secondaries, and 4 120mm anti-aircraft guns, they were built to take on any naval threat. But their greatest threat didn't come from the enemy fleet, it came from the skies and from betrayal. After Italy signed an armistice with the Allies, the unthinkable happened. German forces, once their allies, launched attacks on the Italian fleet to prevent these powerful ships from falling into Allied hands. In a tragic repeat of history, similar to what happened to the French at Mers el-Kabir, the ships were sunk by those they once stood beside. Number 3. The battleship that split in half. Fuso wasn't just another battleship, it was a symbol of Japan's evolving naval power. First commissioned in 1915, this early giant of the seas started its career patrolling near China. But the real transformation came decades later. From 1930 to 1941, Fuso underwent 2 major upgrades: improved propulsion systems, thicker armor up to 12 inches on the hull, and reinforced turret protection. Still, within treaty limits, it packed 14-inch guns and could displace around 35,000 tons, a beast built for battle. But despite its upgrades, Fuso's time in World War II was tragically short. It appeared briefly during the Pearl Harbor operations and Midway Island campaigns, but then came its brutal end. In just under 40 minutes, American torpedo bombers took it down. One torpedo reportedly struck an ammunition magazine, and eyewitnesses claimed the explosion was so violent it tore the ship in half. The Fuso may have returned modernized, but it left history in flames and silence beneath the waves. Number 2. Iowa-class. Built for speed and power, the Iowa-class battleships were unmatched on the seas. With speeds of 33 knots and massive 16-inch guns that could hit targets over 24 miles away, they were built to dominate. These giants, including the USS Iowa, Missouri, Wisconsin, and New Jersey, served in World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and even Desert Storm. The USS Missouri became iconic as the site of Japan's surrender in WWI. Fast, deadly, and legendary, the Iowa-class wasn't just a battleship. It was a symbol of American naval supremacy. Number 1. The Bismarck. The Bismarck wasn't just Germany's largest battleship, it was a symbol of power, fear, and unmatched firepower. Named after Otto von Bismarck, this beast tore through Allied ships during the Battle of the Denmark Strait. But its reign didn't last long. British swordfish bombers crippled it from the skies, and on May 27, 1941, it was finished off in a dramatic final assault. It remains one of the most iconic and doomed ships of WWIE.